had reached as far as these chambers of the Austrian parliament.
Here in Vienna, as elsewhere, political parties sought to gain electoral support by pandering to popular anti-Semitic attitudes. And there were anti-Semites for every political persuasion. Radical anti-Semites saw the Jews as leading the forces of capitalism. Liberal anti-Semites saw them as a backward Oriental people incapable of absorption into the nations of Europe, while conservative anti-Semites saw the Jews as rootless, lacking in tradition, dangerously modern. Clearly, it was not the real content of Jewish life and character that mattered to the anti-Semites. Their Jews were the creation and reflection of their own terrors, fantasies, and neuroses. To attack the Jews was to attack whatever it was that they disliked in the modern world. As the Jews strove to shed the burdens of traditional hatred and prejudice, the anti-Semites found them to be a vulnerable and politically useful target.
In France, by the 1890s, the Jews had become fully integrated in the life of the nation, sharing equally in the rights and duties of citizens. It was here that one of the most notorious anti-Semitic episodes took place. In 1894, Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish captain in the French army, was accused of spying for the Germans. He was tried and convicted on forged evidence. In a public ceremony, Dreyfus was stripped of his rank, while in the crowd around him there were shouts of "Death to the traitor! Death to the Jews!" The anti-Semitic press took up the cry.
What a terrible lesson, this disgraceful treason of the Jew Dreyfus. All the maneuvers of Jewdom are directed against the very soul of France.
Dreyfus was in fact entirely innocent. He was exiled to the prison colony of Devil's Island. For 4 years, his case was forgotten. Then in 1898, the writer Émile Zola published an open letter to the President of France.
I will tell the truth. It is my duty to speak. My nights would be haunted by the specter of an innocent man atoning for a crime he did not commit. I accuse General Bigot of having had in his hands decisive proof of Dreyfus's innocence and of having suppressed it. I accuse General Mercier of being an accomplice. I accuse General Boisdef of being an accomplice. I accuse the court-martial of condemning an innocent man.
To many Frenchmen, Zola's attack on the generals seemed to be an attack on France itself. His article unleashed a storm. Mobs rioted in the streets of Paris. Duels were fought. Families and friendships were torn apart. All France took sides, for Dreyfus or against him. Anti-Semites throughout Europe exploited the Dreyfus Affair. In Rome, the official Jesuit newspaper denounced the emancipation of the Jews.
The Jews have invented the allegations of a judicial error. The real error was granting them French nationality. That law must be revoked, not only in France, but in Germany, Austria, and Italy as well.
Zola and his allies held their ground. In 1899, an official inquiry began. It found that the evidence against Dreyfus had indeed been forged by officers of the French army. A second court-martial again found Dreyfus guilty, although this time with extenuating circumstances. Dreyfus was fully cleared only in 1906. He resumed his commission and was awarded the Order of the Legion of Honor. Most Jews in France were reassured by Dreyfus's victory.